everybody. My name's Gaynor and I own the cooking school and I'm going to be your instructor tonight. I hope everybody managed to get all the ingredients. I know it's a bit challenging. Some of this stuff is not the easiest to find sometimes, but you can make substitutions and some things are fine if they're kind of left out as well. So I gave you this little glossary of ingredients, really just explain to you what a lot of them are. I think one that's confusing is the louse and galanga because it comes in various formats. It comes as a dry powder, and they usually call it louse, L-A-O-S. And then when it's fresh or frozen, it's called galanga, which is the, it looks, where's my piece? This is what it looks like. It looks a bit like ginger, but the skin is a lot tougher, and it's a little sort of different, slightly different color, more pinky sort of beige inside, and it has quite a sort of sweet smell to it. But it's in the ginger family, part of that type of vegetable or spice. And you can use ginger instead if you can't get it. But if you've got the dry, and we're going to use a bit of both. I've got the dried louse powder as well, which is sometimes called louse, sometimes called galanga. So it gets very confusing all around, really. We're not using preserved turnip. I've changed the recipes, but that's just something on there you may come across in a number of Thai recipes. And again, you tend to find that in frozen or dried formats. Same with palm sugar. Palm sugar is used quite a lot in desserts and some curries. And again, that can be substituted with brown sugar quite easily. And then the good old fish sauce. If you're really stuck for fish sauce, you can use soy. The fish sauce, if you bought it, you will know has a very distinctive smell. I usually pass it around to people in class so they get a good old whiff of it because it's very strong tasting, smelling rather. But it gives that, you'll notice when we make the food and you use that, it gives it a distinctive flavor, which you may have experienced it in Thai food and not realize what it was. And that is the fish sauce. So a little different if you use soy. Lemongrass. I always try and get the fresh, if I can. I go to, on the strip usually, my favorite store down there is in Pittsburgh is Lotus. And they have, there's a number of them, but that's my favorite place. And they always have fresh lemongrass. There's usually 3 pieces for $1, I think, something like that. It's very, very sinewy. So it's very hard. You'll see when we cut it up, it's very hard to cut. It does come frozen. It does come dried. And you even, usually if it's dried, it usually comes in a spice jar, and it looks like little, you'll see when we chop this up, it looks like very little tiny pieces of this chopped up, and that works too. You know, the nice thing about these though, they do keep for a very long time because it's dry, and they'll keep, I don't know, 2 months probably in your fridge. So if you do buy it, you know, don't think, oh, I'm going to have too much and I won't have anything to do with it. You can always keep it in the fridge or chop it up and freeze it and then use it straight from frozen. All right. And the same with the galanga. If you get the fresh galanga, freeze is great. The frozen package, which I usually buy, I just it's in pieces. I take it out, take a piece out, chop it up, and then put the other piece back in. And it stays pretty much forever. Shrimp paste. We are going to use that tonight. You can get that in most of the stores. If you couldn't get it for some reason, you could use anchovy paste or chopped up anchovies. We'll do the similar sort of thing really if you couldn't find that. Tamarind pods, again, we're not using those tonight. I just like to keep this list. Oh, somebody else. I thought we had one more, but I wasn't sure. I don't think my mouse is working properly. I think I'll have to come and click her in. Let me see. But tamarind, that comes in many formats as well. It comes in pods, and you can buy it in pods whole. It looks like dried pea pods. So you know there are substitutes you can use for different things if you can't get everything. So the order we're going to do things in tonight, we are going to make the curry paste first. Now the amount of curry paste we make will be more than we need, but again this freezes really well. You'll have it made in your freezer for next time you want to make this curry. There are basically 3 types of Thai curry: red, orange, and green. Red being the hottest, orange fairly mild, and green in the middle. All right, and this is a green curry paste that we're making tonight. So we're going to make that first, then we're going to start making that curry, the chicken curry, And then we will move on and do the eggplant curry, and then the rice, and then the soup last. The soup is wonderful. I love it, and it's very, very simple to make. It's one of the easiest soups I think I've ever made. So hopefully you'll think the same thing. I really like it. So let's look at the ingredients for the curry paste, which I know is rather daunting when you look at it like this. You're like, oh my God, all these ingredients, that's just to make the paste. You can buy paste, green curry paste already made, all right? Just so you know that. But it's kind of rewarding to make your own, and as I say, it lasts a long time. So you don't have to worry too much about it. Now, so we have louse powder, so that's the powdered galanga, a little bit of lime zest, ginger, 3 whole serranos, or a jalapeno chili, or a bit less if you don't want it quite so hot, okay? And then coriander powder or seeds. Now, again, seeds or powder, because it's going to go into your blender or your food processor to chop up. So either works. Same with the caraway seeds, ground or whole caraway seeds. I have whole tonight. Shrimp paste, some whole black peppercorns, salt, cloves, a little bit of canola oil, nutmeg, your stalk of lemongrass, which we're going to chop up a little bit first because it takes a long time to break up, some cilantro and shallots. And basically everything is going to go into your food processor. As I say, with the lemongrass, usually take the outside leaf off and then cut it into sort of 1 to 2 inch pieces. Usually doing it like this works best because, as I say, it is very fibrous. And then throw the dry end bit away. Top bit, I should say. And we're going to put that into your food processor. And then your shallots. Peel your shallot, cut it into a few pieces. Just make it chop up a little easier. I'm just going to cut mine in like 4 pieces like that. Throw it in. I've got to keep my finger to check we get everything. Bit of lime zest. Just the zest of your lime, use a grater. I have a microplane here that I'm going to use. And we're looking for about half a teaspoon. So just the green, it's just the green. Make sure you don't get any of the white underneath. I used this last night for another class, so I've lost half the zest on it already. But roughly about half a teaspoon. Doesn't matter if you have slightly more or slightly less. Not a dominant flavor in there, so that's about right. Maybe a little heavy, but I'm going to put in anyway. Okay. And then I have my jalapeno here. Now I know these jalapenos of mine were pretty potent. So I'm actually going to put in about 2/3 of this because I know otherwise it's going to blow my head off later. Skins on these tend to be a little tough at times. So again, any chilies really, if you don't have, I mean, preferably green because we're making green curry paste, but you know what, who's watching? You know, it doesn't really matter too much. This is my cilantro, which I've just washed, and I just took off the main stalk off the bottom, and I'm going to throw that in as well. And I have 2 tablespoons of canola oil right here. That's going to go in. In here, I have my, this is the shrimp paste. All right, so that's going to go in as well. And then in here, I have all my spices. Okay. So I have my ginger, my coriander seeds, my caraway seeds, my black peppercorns, my salt, my whole cloves of garlic, cloves, I should say, sorry, and the nutmeg are all in here. Okay, so I've mixed them all together, so I'm just going to tip those all in as well. All right, I'm going to do a double check to make sure I have everything. Yes, I think so. Yes, good. Have everything. All right, good. So you just want to try and process this, make it into a sort of paste. I mean, that lemongrass won't paste up a lot. It will stay fairly sinewy. pop it and give it a push down with a spatula. If you're doing this in a blender, you may not need to do that, but in a food processor, we usually do have to give it a little help. I'm going to give it one more go. Got to get the lid off. There we go. That lemongrass will soften up when we cook it. All right, that's as good as I'm going to get out of that, I think. There we go. So just as small as you can get it. I've got, as I say, quite a few of the pieces of the lemongrass in there. Just show you if you can see. A fair amount in there, but that's okay. That's fine. Right. Okay. So with my chicken, we're using bone-in chicken, and the reason for that is when you're cooking something for a long time, chicken for a long time, you want to cook it on the bone so that it doesn't dry out. Okay, it'll overcook and dry out. So that's why we cook it on the bone. All right. So if you haven't already done so and you're not sure how to do this, I've cut some of these up. The best way to cut chicken, do not use your knife and saw it backwards and forwards. You'll take the edge off your knife, okay? So what you want to do is cut through with your knife until you hit the bone, then take the palm of your hand and hit it. If you've got a cleaver, that works as well. But you want to hit it through the bone or cleave it through the bone so that it doesn't break. And then you're going to do it the other way. You can even go like this, like that, and cut through. And believe me, it doesn't hurt your knife as long as you use this back part of your knife. All right. I'm going to give this one another. Takes out some aggression from the day. Okay. All right. So what we're going to do now, either you don't need that larger pot for this. I'm just using a saute pan this big for the amount of meat we have. In here, I'm going to put, you have 2 1/3 cups of coconut milk. All right, so you're going to put the first cup in, first third of a cup, I should say, and we're going to heat that up. And we're going to add the chicken as well, and then you're going to add a teaspoon of that fish sauce. Fish sauce. I was smelling it just now. I'll put it. I'll find it in a second. That's going to go in. I don't know what I did with it. All right, I'm going to grab a bit more. I don't know what I did with it. So, teaspoon of fish sauce. Okay. Now, what we're going to do, we're not putting we're not going to put the paste in yet, but we are going to put that galanga in. So if you have the fresh galanga, you want to peel it. It's a little hard to peel, particularly if you've got the frozen type, it's hard to peel. The fresh isn't so bad, but this is more than I need. I'm just going to cut half of this. Whoop. Very tough, this skin sometimes. There we go. And cut a smaller piece. And then you want to chop this in small pieces, which is not easy. It will break down though a fair amount when you put it into the curry. So don't have to worry too much. So make it fairly small if you can. You can see I'm mincing it backwards and forwards to make it small. All right, so this is going to go in. We're going to bring this mixture to a boil. Then we're going to turn it down and cover it and let it cook until the meat's cooked, which will probably be about half an hour, 40 minutes. All right, so that's why I kind of wanted to get that started first. So we're going to cover it, and then what we're going to do is periodically we're going to take the lid off, turn it over to make sure it cooks evenly. Right, and you can use a pair of tongs for that or something. So there's not a lot of liquid in, but the rest of the coconut milk will go in when we add the paste in a little bit. All right. Okay. Wipe off my. So as I get it up to a boil, and then once we let it cook, wait till the chicken's soft, and then we will add the rest of the curry paste and the rest of the coconut milk, and let it cook a little bit longer, and they'll be ready to serve our rice when we're ready. Okay. So get it a good boil before you turn it down. All right, I'm just about at a boil now, so I'm going to turn it down to a simmer. Put my lid on and leave it to cook, and then I'm going to check it every 5 or 10 minutes. Just turn the meat over so it cooks evenly. All right, everybody okay? You all good? Let's see if I can get my silly mouse to work. I don't like this mouse. It's kind of weird. Never mind. Whatever. So the next thing we're going to do, we are going to do the eggplant, garlic eggplant curry. Okay, I love this. I like a mixture of, even I love Indian curry too, and I do like a mixture of vegetables and meat. So I'm particularly partial to this. Now, hopefully you managed to get these, the Chinese eggplant. You could make this with regular eggplant too. I can't see why you couldn't, but traditionally they are made with these funny little guys. And we have red onion, garlic, a chili, and then all our seasonings: basil, cornstarch, water, brown sugar, and fish sauce, oyster sauce, and soy. All right, I think that's everything. Yes, that's everything we've got in there. Okay, so with these, we want to chop these up. All right. So to do that, we're just going to cut them into uniform sized pieces. Pop that right there. Yeah, so I'm just using a sharp knife. Cut the top off and the very bottom. And I usually just literally cut them. I cut them in half like this, lengthwise, and then cut them in half again. So I have 4 pieces like this per eggplant, all right? And then just cut these in about 1-inch cubes. You generally do need to go to Asian stores to get these. You don't usually see these in the regular supermarket. Not that I've seen anyway. But they're not expensive. And in fact, any of the stuff you buy at the good Asian stores, particularly the ones in Pittsburgh on the Strip, are the stuff is way less expensive than if you can buy it at the regular supermarket or whatever. So it's worth a trip. And I love the Strip anyway. It's great going down there. There's so many fun stores and everything. It's the food lovers' mecca down there. All right, so that's that chopped up. We want to do our red onion. So peel the outside off your red onion And we're going to slice this. So we're going to cut it. Sorry, rough cuts across like this because we're going to dice it, but in a rough dice. So I've actually cut through this way, and then I'm going to turn it this way and then cut it into a rough dice, okay? Just like that. Make myself a trash bowl, I think. Easy to go backwards and forwards. And then for your garlic, 3 cloves of garlic. Hope you like garlic. My garlic cloves are huge, actually. That's okay because I love garlic. So, best way to open these: put your knife on, give it a sharp hit, and that'll break the skin. I don't use a garlic press. I don't think it's necessary. And then you waste half the garlic anyway because it gets stuck in the garlic press. So I always just use a knife for my garlic. Guys don't want to come out. I've actually got 3. That's an extra one. It was one of those double ones. They were twins. All right. So we're going to mince our garlic. So what we're going to do first, roughly cut. And then you want to mince. When you mince, flat of your hand on the front of your knife and rotate the back of your knife backwards and forwards. If your garlic really sticks to your knife, put a little bit of salt with it. That will help it from sticking. To the knife as much. So again, nice and small. You know, you really want it to be, you don't want great big lumps of garlic in there. Especially when you've got this much garlic. Okay. Put that to one side. And then with our basil, we're going to chop that up as well. Whoops. I did wash this earlier. Just pull it off your off the stem. And again, just roughly cut it first and then mince it up. I'm going to move my chicken over here. And then bring this pot back over here. So another sort of medium-sized skillet for this, all right? So I think we have everything chopped up and we should have everything here. So everything except the cornstarch for the sauce ingredients are going to get mixed together. All right, so for the sauce ingredients, we have fish sauce, oyster sauce, brown sugar, cornstarch. Sorry, I've read that, I've written this wrong. All right, add everything except the cornstarch, mix the cornstarch and the water together is what I was trying to say. All right, so we have cornstarch and your tablespoon of water. There we go, tablespoon of water, making sure it's water before I put it in. Mix that together. And then in another bowl, combine your fish sauce, your oyster sauce, and your brown sugar. All right, so my oyster sauce is here, my fish sauce is there, and then my brown sugar. Then mix that together. Grab a little spoon. And they will sit to one side because they're going to thicken this, or flavor it and then thicken it when we've cooked the eggplant. Okay, so we want to heat our oil in here. What have I got here? 2 tablespoons of oil, 1.5 tablespoons of oil, something like that. All right, so you're going to heat your oil first, and we're going to cook our onions. Onions first with garlic, half the garlic, the chili, and the eggplant. All right, they're going to go in. So in go my onions. This garlic does shrink down quite a bit, but that's okay. And remember, only half the garlic, the rest is going to go in later. And I need chili. What do I do with my chili? All right, so some extra garlic, and then I have my basil here, which is going to go in. All right, so my chili. All right. Now, see, I'm saying here half a dried red chili, so you can just take half the chili, break it in half, and crumple it in. Now, if you want it hotter, you can add the whole chili. In fact, I'm going to do that. I'm going to add the whole chili. My husband likes things spicy, so I'll add the whole chili. All right, so you want to move this around a bit with a wooden spoon. We want to let this cook. We're looking to get that eggplant nice and soft. All right, and we're going to cook it for about 5 minutes, and then we're going to add the soy and continue cooking. And then we're going to add for about 5 more minutes until the eggplant is soft and translucent, and then a little bit more water if we need it, and then the rest of the garlic plus the sauce. All right. And then the basil just goes in at the end. So this is going to take a few minutes, about 5 minutes before we want to do anything else with it. Don't forget to give your chicken a turn at this point. Turn it over. Okay, tongues are there. Just going to turn it around. And if you've got your pieces fairly small, it should cook fairly quickly. Which is why I wanted them fairly small. There we go. They're going to take a while. So you're looking for this, that your liquid should be, your pan should be sort of medium temperature. All right? So with all these dishes, you can add, increase the spiciness if you want, like you can with any spicy dish. If you like it hotter, you can put more chili in, or less if you like it milder. Hot doesn't always mean the best necessarily. Just personal taste, really. What I suggest you do is put your little basil in a separate container so we don't forget about it, because it's basically just going to go on the top at the end. All right? When we serve it. Just watch, I've got my heat on medium, but you've got to watch it because you don't want to burn those onions, okay? We want to cook them, we want to cook the eggplant, but we don't want to burn the onions. So make sure that it's not too hot that that's happening. Let's do my... this dish is because, relatively speaking, there aren't, eggplants aren't used a huge amount in all cuisines, and there's a limited amount of recipes for eggplants. There are more in like Thailand and India and stuff, but I just thought, you know, something nice to do. As I say, you could use regular eggplant for this as well. They're a little bit more bitter, the regular ones, and they do have a slightly higher water content than these, but you know, when you're frying them, they would work. Hopefully you'll start to see a bit of colour on your eggplants, and it's softening up a little bit. Just keep moving it around. Patience. My little containers. Takes me longer to wash these up than it does to do the class almost. All right, getting there. Another minute or so. Whoa! That pepper's hot. Might blow my head off. All right, I'm going to add my soy to mine now. Turn my heat down a little bit. And cook it for about another 5 minutes or so. 4 or 5 minutes. Oh, it smells great already. So this other mixture we have here with fish sauce, oyster, and brown sugar. That brown sugar, you find brown sugar, and say like palm sugar, quite a lot in Thai cooking. It's there really to counterbalance the spiciness. It's like sweet and sour sort of thing. And it counteracts that fish sauce and gives it a sweetness, which is a nice, you know, a nice balance. I did just add my 2 tablespoons of water. If you the recipe, I almost forgot them. Just this 2 tablespoons of water, it just helps to make that the stuff cook and everything. And it just helps with the moisture and everything. So you put those in if you want, 2 tablespoons of water into the pan at the same time. Be careful you don't splash yourself, all right? So this does want to be really nice and soft. And it's why we add the garlic at the end so that it doesn't get too brown. If your mixture is very dry when we go to add the garlic, add a little bit more oil, all right? It wants to have a little bit of oil there, it just doesn't want to be swimming in oil. I think mine look really soft. I'm going to just grab a little knife and check that the eggplant is all soft. Yes, it is. So I'm going to throw in the rest of my garlic now. And just stir it to incorporate it like that. Turn your heat down to really low. And then I want you to add your not your cornstarch, sorry, just the oyster, the brown sugar and the fish sauce, and stir that in. And then you're going to add that little bit of cornstarch with the water together, all right? And that just provides, make sure you get it all out. I'm still half in the bottom here. Make sure you get it all out from the bottom if it's because it tends to settle a little bit. And that's just going to give it a little thickness. Now, if you think it's a bit too thick, you can add a bit more water to it, all right? Now, you do need to cook this for 2 or 3 minutes, and you can taste it. If you think it's too salty, yeah, it tastes fairly salty. You can add a little bit of lemon juice or lime juice, all right? I'm going to add a little bit of lime juice to mine. It's personal taste, all right? If you think it's a bit salty, add a good squeeze of lime juice or lemon juice. That will cut the saltiness, and the saltiness comes from the fish sauce and also some of the oyster sauce as well. Yeah, that tastes better. Now the beauty with this, it reheats really easily. You can make it the day before and then reheat it, no problem. And then, as I say, the basil we are just going to put on the top at the end when we serve it. All right, so I'm going to put that over here to one side so that I don't forget. And you want to taste this, not only for that saltiness, you want to make sure it doesn't taste floury from the cornstarch. If you've got a little floury aftertaste, then let it cook for a couple more minutes. All right, so I'm going to turn mine right off and push it back here and give my chicken another turn over. Make sure it's cooked. The chicken will stay so much more moist like this being on the bone, and it's something that does want to cook for a while. You can't like cook it quick and do the chicken breast because then it won't absorb the flavors, and then when you add the curry paste, it won't work. So all right, so how's everyone doing? We okay? You good? Megan seems to have disappeared. Oh, no, there she is. DJ, you okay? You're all so quiet. You can talk to me. Well, I'm going to wait a couple of minutes till everyone has their eggplant cooked, all right? Because we've got plenty of time. So when you've got your eggplant cooked, let me know, okay? And we'll, I'm going to straighten up her a little bit while you guys are doing that, okay? All right, I'm not going to go on yet, but I'm just going to say what we're going to do next. We're going to work on the rice dish next, okay? So, as I say, Savannah and DJ, just let me know when you've got your eggplant cooked, okay? I can see your faces much better in my extra camera. The one over there, I can't see. You have to look like this. My overhead, because I can't read names or anything over there. It's too far away. So, now the rice dish. Megan had asked me if there was a substitute for saffron because it was so expensive. I completely agree. It is astronomically expensive. Do you know why it's so expensive? It's so expensive because it has to be hand harvested, literally by hand, like this, because it's so fragile. So it's not the product that's expensive, it's the labor involved in harvesting it. And it's about let me see, the last time I bought some, it cost me $45, and I think it was 1 ounce. So that makes it what? 16 times that a pound, which is a lot. So it's really, really expensive. If you don't have it in something like this, a little bit more turmeric will just give a bit of color or whatever. I'll be honest, I find saffron a strange thing. I can't really identify the taste of saffron in things. Even in like, paella, I don't really notice the taste significantly enough, but I do use it sometimes, but it is ridiculous. You buy it in the McCormick's jar like this, and you use a piece of paper inside, and you open it up, and there's about a quarter teaspoon in there. I think that's $13 or something. So it's absolutely ludicrous as to how expensive it is. I had a friend of mine once, who lived around the corner. Her husband somehow managed to get a bag of saffron. He brought it back from Europe. It was a quart Ziploc bag of saffron, and it was full. And she said to me, "Would you like this?" I went, "Are you serious?" She said, "Oh, I'll never use it." I went, she probably gave me about $800 worth of saffron, I think. I don't know, maybe not quite. At least it was about well over half a pound of saffron, I think. And it a full, 3/4 full Ziploc bag. I was like, oh my God, lasts me forever. It was great. Another story about saffron, I'll bore you. One of my teachers, his name is Josh, lovely guy. And we at the school, we keep the saffron hidden in the office in a secret place. And basically, whoever's teaching takes the saffron out and hands whoever's using it the pinch or the quarter teaspoon or something like that. We don't let people like willy-nilly wander around with it. So he did that. He went and got the saffron bag, gave it to somebody, and put the rest of the packet in his chef's jacket pocket. And when I went in on Monday morning and went to change over the laundry, I was like, what's all these little red specks in here? He had washed the rest of the packet of saffron in his chef's jacket. So I called him out initially and joked with him. I said, "You're fired." He goes, I'm so sorry. I said, it's fine. I said, "I just couldn't work." And the funny thing was, it didn't turn anything pink or red, unfortunately. But as I say, there were all these little specks, the little tiny pieces of saffron all over the inside of the, and it wasn't much. It was probably a couple of tablespoons, but probably about $50 worth of saffron that had managed to get laundered, so I'm never going to let him forget it, I don't think. So anyway, all right, so jasmine rice, again, if you don't have the jasmine rice, it's fine. You can do the regular rice. Jasmine rice is great. Chicken or vegetable stock, shredded coconut, turmeric, pinch of saffron, or a pin of saffron, as I've written here, I apologize, and a little bit of the nam pla fish sauce. That's the Vietnamese name for fish sauce. Teaspoon of lemon juice, 1/3 teaspoon of cumin, and a little bit more of crushed chili, and a scallion or some chives. All right. So how we're going to do this? We're going to put the stock in a pot, set it over high heat, add the turmeric, the saffron threads, the garlic, fish sauce, lemon juice, and cumin and chili to that, and bring it to a boil, and then we add the rice. So that's the first thing we're going to do. So let's grab that all out. Okay, so you don't want very big pots, so you're doing 2/3 of a cup of rice. So we want to put in here our chicken stock, which I have right here. Our saffron threads, chopped up chili, cumin, turmeric, chopped up chili, and my fish oil, which I'm going to be in turmeric, saffron threads, fish oil, lemon juice, cumin, and chili. Good. And we're going to bring this to a boil, guys. Okay. And the turmeric enough is going to make the rice nice and golden anyway. All right. So we're going to bring it to a boil. Then we're going to put the rice in and the coconut milk. So we want whatever it is, 2/3 of a cup of coconut milk, isn't it? I think. Whatever it is, yes. And bring that back to a boil, reduce heat to low, stop stirring, and then cover the pot tightly with a lid and cook for about 15 minutes over a very low heat until all the liquid has absorbed. If when all the liquid has been absorbed, it's still not fully cooked, then you can add a bit of water, a bit more coconut milk or whatever, but you need to make sure it's fully cooked. So if it's starting to stick to the bottom, not fully cooked, then add more liquid. All right. Now this is an instance where you measure, the reason you measure your stock and liquid is because this is an absorption method with the rice. So the rice is getting the flavor from, it's a flavored rice, getting a flavor from all the other ingredients. If you're just boiling rice to have on the side with a dish, you know, like you would boil pasta, like you would have pasta, you cook it the same way you cook pasta, over a large amount of boiling salted water. You only want to use measured amounts with measured amounts of rice when you are doing an absorption method like this, okay? Sorry, I didn't put my lemon juice in. No. I have to keep checking because I miss things on my thing here. And sorry, guys, also your garlic goes in. I beg your pardon. Just double checking and realise I haven't done the garlic. So chop that nice and small again. Trying to read the directions and cook it all at the same time. Sometimes it goes a bit amiss. See, when I do these at the school, I don't do the cooking. The students do all the cooking. I just go around and shout at everybody. Tell them what to do. All right, so I'm boiling. So in goes my rice. In goes my coconuts. I need a wooden spoon. And my coconut milk. And you want to bring it back to a boil. While that's coming to a boil, get yourself a lid that will fit nicely on the top of here. Perfect. Give it a little stir while it's coming to a boil. All right, so as soon as it comes to a boil, turn it right down to a low simmer. Put your lid on, and we're going to check it periodically. It's probably going to take 20 minutes or so, something like that. And then we'll turn off the heat and let it finish. All right, I'm going to turn my chicken over again. Okay, I think my chicken is pretty much cooked. It should be fairly tender. If it is, I mean, it's been on for a good 40 minutes, 45 minutes, I think we are ready to do the next stage with the chicken. So I'm just going to turn this off for a second. So let's go back to our recipe for the chicken and just go over what else we have to do for that, okay? So step 3 of this actually, we're going to take the chicken out, all right? We're going to increase the heat and reduce that milk until it's thickened slightly. It becomes really oily. It will be fairly oily already. We want to reduce it a little bit. Then we're going to stir in our curry paste. Now, not all this curry paste, about 2 tablespoons of it, okay? Not all of it. Blow your head off, you put all of it in. We'll add the curry paste, continue to cook for 2 minutes, then we put the chicken back in the pan with the rest of the coconut milk, the other third of a cup of coconut milk, and reduce the heat and cook it for 5 to 6 minutes, and then we're going to add some chopped basil and some lemon juice and the peas and let it cook for another 5 minutes. All right, so first things first, you want to take the chicken out of here, pop it in a little bowl or something on a plate, and then we're going to turn the heat up and reduce this liquid a little bit. So for a couple of minutes, we're going to turn the heat up and reduce it down. All right. I'm actually going to swap my pans over. So you should have a fair amount of liquid in there, a little bit of fat. We're going to let that reduce down. Don't worry about the stuff that's on the bottom. That's fine. I still got my curry paste in here. It's funny, your coconut milk has gone clear now. That's what happens to it. It's kind of interesting that it does that. So a couple of minutes high heat, and then we'll put our curry paste in. Watch it splashing a bit. A lot of liquid in here now, it's mostly just fat, so I'm going to turn that right down, and I'm going to add about 2 tablespoons of this beautiful, beautiful mixture. There we go, and stir it in. Scrape up the bottom a bit, get the stuff off the bottom in. Scraping along the bottom here to incorporate the stuff that's stuck on the bottom. And you should be able to smell the aromas of this. I did not chop up my basil for this. I'm going to do that now, just while that's cooking. If you haven't, chop up your basil for this as well. Doing is softening particularly that lemongrass. All right, so now we're going to put our chicken back in with the rest of the coconut milk. Let it boil up, and then I want you to reduce that heat right down again. Put your lid back on because we don't want that to evaporate, and we're going to leave that for about 5 minutes again. Okay. After 5 minutes, we are going to add the lemon juice, the basil, and the peas. Okay. Do check your rice. Give it a stir. Now mine has, yeah, I'm going to put a sort of water in mine because my liquid has pretty much evaporated. So I want to make sure, and it's not fully cooked, and I want to make sure that I do a little bit more. I think I was a little over my 2/3 of a cup of rice. I kind of put it in, there was a bit more, so that's definitely why I need to do that. Okay. So that chicken is nearly finished. Now again, that will reheat easily. What you do find though when it does reheat is sometimes the coconut milk will separate, you know, will go oily. So solution to that would be add a little bit of cornstarch and water to bring it back together if it does separate out, if that bothers you, okay, when you go to eat it. Because that does tend to happen quite often when you reheat it. I know, because when I bring it home and reheat it, that's what happens. So yeah, so I'm going to leave that for 5 minutes. Ooh, I've got stuff all over the place here. Let me do this. The scallions there. And basil there. Okay, so our soup. For the soup. I remember when I first saw this recipe, I thought, well, that's how bizarre. Creamed corn in a Thai dish. Shows what I know, right? I was like, that sounds really peculiar, using creamed corn. Surely that's an American invention, I thought, but obviously not. So, as I say, this dish is pretty easy and simple. We've got oil, we've got garlic, a shallot, chicken stock, fish sauce, shredded cabbage. I have Savoy cabbage here, but you can use any sort of cabbage. Creamed corn, pepper, egg, a tablespoon of egg, and some fresh cilantro. All right. So what we want to do first is to chop up our veggies. So here a minute. So with your shallots, I want you to peel the skin off and try and keep it in one piece like this. All right. Then let me see if I can get my overhead camera on. You can see I'm going to show you how to dice this because it works a little better if we do it. I tell you, I think my mouse, every time I put it down, it kind of turns off. Let's see. There we go. Oh. All right. So I'm going to turn this way, and you can watch me do this. So this is the way I dice shallots or onions, okay? So try and leave the root part intact here. Use your small knife, make little cuts, one down the middle of the shallot like that, without cutting through the root. And then continue to do that about 1/4 inch apart, all the way around your shallot on both sides. So I'm going round this way, and then I'm going to go around this way and do the same thing. All right, like that, like that, like that. So if I hold it up, my shallot is split all the way down, but still attached at the end. Okay, this is the same way we do a regular onion. And then take your knife, hold your shallot with your finger. I'm doing this the wrong way. With your fingers like this, and then little tiny equal size slices, and then you will end up with equal size pieces. Sometimes you get way bits to go out on the edge, but you'll end up with everything pretty much the same size. If you've got a few wayward bits, you can always chop those up. It's really important to do this because it's very important, particularly onions and shallots, that they are cooked fairly even size, because they will, when you cook them, you want to cook till they're soft or till they're caramelized. You don't always cook the same. And if you have big pieces or small pieces, some of your shallots or onions are going to be burnt, and some are going to be still raw if you have big pieces. So it's important to try and get the pieces all the same. It is with everything, but I think particularly with onions, it's really important. With your cabbage, you should just cut this like you're making coleslaw. All right. And if your pieces are fairly big, you maybe want to cut them across the other way as well. Because you don't want great big pieces, you know, like spaghetti coming out of people's mouths. Okay. All right, I'm going to give my chicken a stir. Oops. And that's it. Here we go. A wooden spoon. There we go. So I'm going to add the lemon juice and the peas and the cilantro to my the basil, I mean. I'm also going to add a little bit more coconut milk because mine seems to have evaporated a little bit. So I'm just going to add a little bit more. When we do small amounts like this sometimes happens that we lose a bit because we're making a relatively small amount. So I'm just going to add a little bit more. So just use, you know, if it looks a little like it's not liquidy enough, then add a wee bit more. That looks better. Okay. It was a little dry. Okay. Gonna leave that a couple more minutes. Okay. So I need to chop up my garlic. Two more cloves of garlic. Gotta like garlic to like this stuff, right? One. We're moving along really fast. We're going to get to eat early tonight, I think, guys. Don't forget to check your rice. Oops, I'm going to check mine again. See how it's doing. All right, so I think I'm almost there. Let's have a little taste. Yeah, mine is done. It's perfect. I'm just going to put the lid on, let it sit at the back there. Okay, so chopping up my garlic again. Okay, so you want a sort of medium-sized pot for this. Use this size. And then, sorry, there we go. Yeah, so I have a medium-sized pot. So I have my cabbage, my shallot, my garlic, and then all the other stuff over here. And then the last thing I need to chop up is my cilantro. All good. Now, we're not going to use all of that egg, okay? I have a whole egg here, but we're only going to use about a tablespoon of it. So just bear that in mind. Don't chuck all your egg in. So we are going to, a little bit of oil, and we're going to fry our shallots. With my chicken again. So, just a little bit of oil, teaspoon of oil. Yeah, I'm turning my chicken off because it's done. It looks pretty good and everything's cooked nicely. So a little bit of oil in there, and then I'm going to add my shallots to that. Cook those gently. So cut until they soften just a little bit, all right? And you can add your garlic as well. A little bit of color on them. When I say brown, I mean lightly brown, not, you don't want to burn. A little bit of color on them. Just gives a little extra to the dish, to the soup. Okay, my chicken looks good. I'm just throwing it around in the sauce. Tastes wonderful. I did add a bit more coconut milk. It's a little dry. I think I might heat it a little high, actually. All right, I have a tiny bit of color on my veggies. I mean, you can see that just a little bit, all right, on my onion and my garlic. A little tiny bit more. So now I'm going to add my stock and my fish sauce. And then my cabbage and my corn. And black pepper. If you think it looks a little thick, you can always add a little bit more stock to it if you want to. I'm just going to get some more ready in case I need to, but if it looks a little thick. So bring it back to a boil. drop more water in mine. You know, do the cabbage a little bit. There we go, that looks better. You always adjust it. So this is really, I mean, this is, as I say, it's so quick and easy. You probably want to check the seasoning on this. You might need a bit more salt and pepper. I mean, easy on the salt, because remember you've got the fish sauce in there, and you don't want to make it too salty, and that will do that. But maybe you want a little bit more pepper in it or something like that, and you're just going to garnish it. You're going to put the egg in, and then you're going to garnish it with cilantro when you're ready to serve it. Okay. So I want to bring it back to the boil. We want my cabbage to soften just a little bit. Cilantro in here. Watch pot never boils. All right, mine's nearly boiling. By the time it comes to a boil, it should be the cabbage should be soft enough by that point. Okay. So with your egg, you can use a fork or a whisk. You want to just combine the egg, because we're just going to use 1 tablespoon of it, okay? So mix your egg up. This is going to have a similar effect to like egg drop soup when we put it in, because it's going into boiling liquid. So it'll just go like, you know, stringy like egg drops, like egg drop. So we move quick tonight. Faster than I expected, I must admit. It's only 10 to 7. Wow. You did great. Hopefully you all kept up with me. I hope so. How are we doing in there? I'm watching you all. All right, so my soup is bubbling now. So I want you to take about a tablespoon of your egg, roughly. All right, and put that in. I know it's hard to measure a tablespoon, so you might need to do like, you know, do it 2 or 3 times, because it always slides off. And then just stir it in. Okay. And that will make it look slightly creamy, hopefully. And then it should be good. You can turn it off and then you can taste it and see if it's. Now, mine, I think I need a little bit of salt or a little bit more fish sauce. I'm going to put a drop more fish sauce in mine. I like the fish sauce, but if you want a bit more saltiness without the fish sauce, use a bit of salt. All right? And even a little bit more pepper if you want to. I'm going to put a drop more regular pepper in mine. But it's personal taste, really. Let's see how that tastes. Yes, that's better. So I'm going to serve it with the cilantro on the top. So I'm going to start like plating some of this stuff so you guys can see. And I know we're done early. I hope that's okay. And we'll get it out and have it all arranged so you can see everything. I'm just going to use some little containers here to put everything in. Chicken here. I'm going to turn the camera over so that you guys can see. And then hopefully my rice is still hot enough. I hope so. Let's go to this. I'm just going to go to the overhead again. Oops. Yeah, my rice is still nice and hot, so I'm going to pop that in here, I think. And my scallions. On there. And then I'm going to reheat my eggplant. And then my soup. With the soup, I'm just going to put a little bit in a bowl. I hope you like this soup as much as I do. I love it. I also love the fact that it's very easy to prepare. Okay, that's that. And I'm just heating up the eggplant. We did all that in an hour and a half, guys. My goodness. It took longer than that last time I did this class. Just about warm enough. Another container. There we go. Hand's very, very heavy. The one give me a plan out. One hand in. There we go. And I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of the cilantro on the top, just give it a bit more color. And there we go. All right, we did good. We did good. So I hope you guys managed to keep up with me. I certainly hope so. Let me see. Oh my gosh, Megan, that looks fantastic. You can eat it all now? Good. All right, let me get everybody up on the main screen. Okay, that looks great. Oh, I'm seeing, oh, wonderful. Looks good. Ryan and Joel, looks good. Savannah, how are we doing? You guys need to say hi to me if you're leaving. No, I'm kidding. I'm going to come around on the main thing and talk to everybody. Okay, well, hopefully everyone managed to get everything finished. And DJ, you did good. Guys, you did great. All good.
Yeah.
You ready to eat?